Hello EFD squad and welcome back to Transfer Review. Now I know what you're thinking, because I'm psychic like that. Where was your roundup yesterday? Well, I was filming Pato over here go toe to toe with the legendary Frenchman that is Thierry Henry in the Ultimate Arsenal quiz. Content that I shall be editing that's coming out later this week, maybe early next week. Not decided yet. So here we are with a transfer review instead, Pato. Please dive in with our first rumour of the week.
Yeah, we want to make it up to you. So we've got some big stories today. We've got Chelsea, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Juventus and Bayern Munich. But
All
we kick off
teams
with young Monaco forward Kylian Mbappe to Real Madrid. Chris, tell me about this.
Well, apparently there is a gentleman's agreement in place for Mbappe to join Real Madrid in the summer. Now, Florentino Perez has also stoked the flames, Pato, by saying a Benzema and Mbappe duo, well, nothing's impossible. Anyway, Mbappe himself has actually said he's not ready for Real Madrid yet. He said a player who goes to Real Madrid should be mature, should be at the top of his game. And he said he's not quite there yet. Obviously, only young, this is his breakthrough season, but he's been frighteningly good, hasn't he? Netting 19 goals in all competitions at the tender age of 18. That is 6 more than Henry managed at 18, and he wasn't too bad, was he? Did I mention there's a quiz involving Thierry Henry coming later this week? Think
Plugs.
Plugged it again, consummate pro. So what is all the fuss about, Pato? Well, the kid is absolutely crazy. He's contributing to a goal by scoring one or assisting one every 61 minutes this season.
Whoa, woof.
That is filthy, my friend. Please take over with some more juicy
It is filthy.
stats.
It is filthy. It's also unsustainable. He's not going to score or assist every 61 minutes for the rest of his career. He's definitely going to slow down, but his underlying numbers look really, really encouraging. More than 1 key pass a game, that's good for a forward, and nearly 3.5 shots. That's very, very good. And almost all of them come from inside the box. He's got a shooting accuracy of 73%.
So quality chances, aren't they, mate?
Well, yeah, to put that in context, the number of shots that he takes in the box per game, that's the difference between the number that Sunderland take in the box per game and the number that Man City manage.
So he could turn Sunderland into Manchester City.
He could turn Moyes into Guardiola.
Wow. That is
Shave his
worth
head,
every penny,
make
that
him a
100 mil.
genius.
So.
Yeah, look, so anyway, he takes more shots in the box per game than Messi and Lewandowski. In fact, in Europe's top 5 leagues, Edin Dzeko and Cristiano Ronaldo are the only 2 guys who have him beaten.
Edin Dzeko?
But this is still a gamble, right? He's 18 years old, and they're talking about 100 million euros. That's a lot of money. That's Griezmann money, that's Lukaku money. And look, Real Madrid, if they want a young striker, they've got one. They've got Alvaro Morata on the bench. He's got 8 goals and 2 assists in under 900 league minutes this season. He's still a very exciting prospect. Do they need to go out and spend this amount of cash on a kid?
I don't know, but I think our audience members should let us know in the comments below.
Bang.
Next, we move on to a slightly less glamorous transfer, but a transfer nonetheless. It is Conte from Atalanta, a high-flying Atalanta. Apparently, Conte is sniffing around the young right-back, my friend.
Yeah, Andrea Conte this is. He's a 23-year-old. He's versatile. He can play at right back or right midfield. So you imagine he'd fit into a 3-4-3 nicely. Though, of course, we don't actually know whether Conte wants to stick with that in the long run. It might just be that those are the players he had available this season. Who knows? But look, Conte's numbers, they look absolutely dirty. He's got 5 goals and 4 assists in 23 appearances this season. As a defender, you know, that's pretty amazing. And his defensive numbers have not been slacking either. 2.1 tackles, 2.4 interceptions a game. That's the same as Alexandro at Juventus. And actually, he does a lot more defensive work than Victor Moses manages at Chelsea. So he seems like he'd be quite an interesting option for that team going forward.
He certainly does, mate. His defensive contribution is actually much sounder than his attacking prowess, really, which actually, I mean, the numbers belie that fact, but it is pretty true. I mean, attacking wise, he's vastly inferior to someone like Victor Moses when it comes to crossing. He only completes 0.2 crosses a game. Obviously, we look at the style of play. We look at Chelsea to Atalanta. It's not going to be identical, but playing in that right back position, hogging that touchline, you'd hope he gets in more than 0.2, whereas Victor Moses gets in about 0.5. He also only completes a take on about every 2 games as well, showing that he's not really comfortable with taking his man on, where in that same space of time, Pato, Victor Moses is taking on 3.4 men. That's right, 0.4 of a man. Anyway, although discipline is an issue with Conte, he's got 9 yellow cards this season already to his name, so he can be rash. He is 23. You imagine that Conte eyeing that out of his game.
Yeah, you'd have thought so.
But I mean, coming over to the Premier League where the pace is the tempo is significantly higher, that might be an issue at first. But he could be, as you say, a good option for a tough away day. His defensive contribution is very sound. He doesn't go as forward as Victor Moses. He could shore things up when they need a point.
Yeah.
He's been valued at £5 million, but you'd expect with Inter, Napoli, Sevilla interested that that's going to hike up to around 15 to 20. So I think he could be a surprise transfer in the same vein as young Marcos Alonso was last season. So another wing back from Italy, probably. Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Two huge clubs up next, Juventus and Bayern Munich, are apparently negotiating for Douglas Costa.
Douglas, not Douglas.
Oh, I know.
Your friend Ian Robin told us that, didn't you, mate?
Yeah.
Name dropping.
Idiot though. Anyway, this comes from Gazzetta dello Sport, who say that the Brazilian may be winging his way to Turin this summer.
Winging? See what we did there? Jokes all day. Weaving gold over here on the FD. Yes, apparently preliminary chats have already began between the two clubs, so it looks like the cogs are turning on this move, Pato. Bids have started at 30 to 35 million pounds, which would represent a 10 million pound profit for them. The Bavarians, on what they paid Shakhtar for him way back in 2015.
Still quite reasonable.
Considering he's been outside of the team, very reasonable indeed. Good for both clubs, I'd say.
I'd say so.
It's almost like they both conduct really good business season in, season out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, would he suit the old lady? Well, yes, of course he would. He's an absolutely banging player and he'd go slot right into Max Allegri's 4-2-3-1 system. And attacking wise, he's probably an upgrade on Cuadrado, isn't he? Cuadrado's playing out on the right at the moment. And Mandzukic is playing out on the left. I think he could take either one of those slots with consummate ease, to be honest, and elevate that level of performance. Yeah, but Juve, for all their central talent, have a bit of a dearth in terms of wide talent, don't they? They're very reliant on their fullbacks bombing on. I mean, Sandro's brilliant at it. Alves, he's 34 now. Not going to be brilliant at the overlap for, the next 2 or 3 years, whereas Douglas Costa could be that solution in the long term. And with Bayern negotiating hard for Leverkusen's young Julian Brandt and extending the contracts for both Robin and Ribéry, Costa will probably want to go, won't he? Surely. He sees his options as limited.
Yeah, well, it looks like Brandt is going to get done. We're not exactly sure how much money that'll be, but you'd have thought you're going to want to give him some minutes. He's been playing regularly in the Bundesliga, and if you stop him playing, then he's going to stagnate. Also, they've got Kingsley Coman, who's going to be made official this summer. 21 million euros that'll be at the end of his loan deal from Juventus to Bayern Munich. Now, if both those deals go through, then you'd expect that Costa's going to struggle to get more minutes next term. He's only started 12 times in the Bundesliga this season with a further 7 substitute appearances. Now, in that time, he scored 4 goals and assisted 3, so he's still turning in good performances. But we can completely understand why a man who's, I believe, 26, 27 would be looking to move on. He's in the prime of his career and he can get a big contract at one of Europe's biggest clubs. Douglas Costa might be on his way to Serie A. Oh, next up, I've got a huge rumour for you, mate.
We're putting some peri-peri salt on this one.
That's a little hint. That's a little hint right there. You know what, Man City, they've tired of Fernando, so they're getting in a guy who's basically exactly the same player. William Carvalho is apparently on his way to Manchester City. Tell me about this fucking boring transfer.
Well, he's been linked with Premier League clubs for what seems to be the last 5 years, hasn't he, Pato? And he actually only turns 25 this month, which was very surprising to me. Very surprising. But a lot of papers are putting him forward as the like-for-like replacement with Yaya Toure. Let's go with that line of thought for a second, albeit flawed. Yaya Toure turns 34 soon. He's a powerhouse in midfield. So is William Carvalho. He can pass the ball, so can William Carvalho. Let me read you some stats here. William Carvalho has an 88% pass accuracy. He passes the ball at 72, 73 times a game. So he's ever present in terms of Sporting CP's play, and he plays 5 long balls a game. So a nice variety to that distribution, similar to Yaya Toure. Not just lazy journalism, but probably. Anyway, given that we thought Yaya wasn't a Pep-type player at the start of the season, and even moving, into the second half of the season, should we expect the Spaniard to shop like for like the papers are suggesting when it comes to William Carvalho? Well, I actually think the parameters of a Pep-type player have probably changed this season for him. I mean, Yaya's re-emergence in the team was probably emblematic of that. He actually needed him halfway through the season, didn't he? And the Ivorian scored some very important goals. And the move from 4-3-3 to 4-2-3-1 for Pep suggests he's probably going to move forward with the double pivot, isn't he, Pato? Fernandinho, your boy, being the mainstay in that system.
Yeah, well, the problem is, though, Fernandinho is aging, and so is the whole squad. You know, Gundogan, he's young, but he's out injured at the moment. He's got a really dodgy injury record. The average age of the squad is 29. Oh. Chelsea's, by comparison, is 26. A bunch of those guys there, when they were about 27, 28, Man City gave them huge 4-year contracts, and now they're suffering from that. They've got Sanya, Clichy, these guys are going in the summer, Zabaleta, Company. Yeah, all these guys are on long-term contracts, and you need to shift them out so that they can free up some cash to rejuvenate the squad. Now, this does seem like a significant downgrade in terms of that number 6 position for Pep. He's gone from Busquets to Thiago to William Carvalho. Like, that does not seem great to me, but is he better than Fernando? Probably, because literally anything is better than Fernando. He's a dreadful player. Fernandinho, on the other hand, fantastic. As I said, getting old. Yaya Toure, like you said, very, very old now. They've even moved KDB back there at times this season.
Yeah, we saw it against Monaco, didn't we?
Well, yeah, when they needed a goal late on, and we kind of saw it against Arsenal as well, mopping up in the midfield. In fact, he made more ball recoveries against Arsenal than any other player on the field.
Nice.
Really impressive stuff. So, but it's not ideal. You want him to be making his contribution in the attacking third and not in the centre of the field. So Carvalho would allow him to push his attacking players forward again and maybe run that 4-1-4-1 going into the future. Now, the last little tidbit here we can give you is that William Carvalho's agent is Pere Guardiola, who is Pep's brother. So if he wants to get this done, chances are it shouldn't be too difficult. But will it happen? Let us know what you think in the comments down there.
We end the show on the transfer shocker, Patrice, and this one is stinky. It's Gareth Bale. Pause for suspense. To Bayern Munich, of all people, and this comes from The Sun, who have dropped in a terrible line about the Welshman wanting to step out of Cristiano Ronaldo's shadow. Wow. Kudos to the intern who came up with that. Anyway, supposedly Real Madrid's president, Florentino Perez, already mentioned that old ballsack once this episode, is concerned with Bale's form and is looking to sell the forward, who's also attracted interest from Manchester United. I mean, who wouldn't he attract interest from? He's got 9 goals and 3 assists in just 1,600 minutes this season, which again poo-poos the statement he's out of form when he's fit. Pato.
On the way, and then I'll come in.
Drill. We've stopped because someone's drilling into the studio.
Now, in the time that Gareth Bale's been at Real Madrid, they've won 2 Champions Leagues and the Copa del Rey, and they're on track to win La Liga this season. So we can't really understand how concerned Florentino Perez can be. Also, as we discussed earlier, Bayern have Ribery, Robben, Coman, Costa still, and it looks like Julian Brandt this summer. So this makes no sense whatsoever. And Carlo Ancelotti has already been asked about it. He said it was a myth. It is a myth. Well done, The Sun. This is an absolute nonsense story.
Do your best eyebrow, Carlo Ancelotti. Vote in the poll. Who has the best Ancelotti eyebrow? So that was this week's transfer review, guys. Have we missed anything hot off the press? Let us know in the comments below.
Now, if you enjoyed this video, check out this week's FFO, which actually went out on Euro Football Daily. Stat Wars is over on Football Daily.
Made me shiver a bit then when you
Disgusting.
said that. Anyway, as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.